Make sure you pick up my 2 books that's in Amazon right now. The first one is Passive-Aggressive Racism and the System of White Supremacy. And I talk about in that particular book how the system of white supremacy really runs and on our daily lives here in America. In our latest book, 7 Steps to Decolonize the Mind, we go through those steps to try to deprogram you from the system of white supremacy. Make sure you can pick up those books on Amazon.com.
Introducing the African Diaspora News Channel app, your gateway to stories that's overlooked by the corporate mainstream media.
At African Diaspora News Channel, we cover stories that don't receive mainstream attention, and we serve as the voice to the global Black community. We are committed to informing and educating through the power of media, connecting the African diaspora one story at a time.
With our platform, we're helping to end injustice by exposing it.
Join us in standing for excellence in journalism and serving our community.
Peace,
Download the
peace,
African
peace,
Diaspora
peace,
News
family.
app today.
My name is Vicki Dillard, and I'm so pleased to be with you here on African Diaspora News Channel. Beloved, we're so pleased that you have joined us today. Family, be sure to give the video a big thumbs up and share it. That way it'll help to generate notifications so that other folks will know that we are here. Again, I am Vicki Dillard. Just so you know, I'm here live Tuesday through Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern. That's Tuesday through Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern. It's official. I'm so excited about this wonderful announcement, dear family. So be sure to tune in. Of course, you'll still be able to see some of my other content here as well as my other wonderful colleagues. So don't miss it, okay? Family, I want to give a big, huge shout out to my family in Chicago, Illinois, and other large Black conclaves throughout this country that's really politically engaged and pushing back and giving them folks and the other powers and agencies and interests that everlasting work. What do I mean? We are holding folks accountable in a very sophisticated and unrelenting and a very effective way, where the United States of America has spit in the face of the true founding mothers and fathers of this country, that would be us, and have refused to give us 1 red cent for creating this country. They do that in recent history without us even going back even a decade. In recent history, we've seen where they're able to give the AAPI community, the Asian Pacific Island community, in 1 year's time under a Democrat president, a Democrat Congress, $50 million to where they just redirected money that was already in the government and then gave them a criminal protection bill, a bill technically foundational Black Americans are still waiting for. We see that in recent history, you can give literally hundreds of billions of dollars for the Middle East conflict, hundreds of billions of dollars, and it's over decades, and new packages of billions of dollars for the war over there in the Middle East, hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine for the proxy war that we're doing against Russia. Talk back to me, somebody. We see that you're able to spend billions and billions of dollars in recent history for legal and illegal immigration. We see that you're able to give millions and billions of dollars in tangibles and expenses to bring over white Afghans because of the Afghan war that we illegally invaded that country many years ago. And we said we got to do right by the Afghans that was over there. They helped the United States. So y'all brought them to America and gave them tangibles. All of this happened in recent history. So we know, America, you playing in our face and refuse to give us resources. So we're seeing the manifestation of that through the effective advocacy and activism and pushback of the Black grassroots. I hit the gavel on that one, baby, for our people there. I had the high privilege of meeting some of you face to face when I was in Chicago just a few months ago, this past summer. How many of y'all remember the DNC fiasco in Chicago? While I didn't actually go to the convention, the Democratic National Convention, I was there in Chicago, but I was there because I was there meeting you. And before they officially kicked off the Democratic National Convention, I was already there earlier at a Black establishment called How to Eat to Live. which they are. I believe the dear sister is a member of the Nation of Islam. I know what I'm talking about. She's a member of the Nation of Islam, a beautiful cook, has her own Black business, her restaurant establishment there, where she not only made yummy food available to the public, but I got to meet some of you all one-on-one. It was absolutely amazing. And I'm going to be doing more of those, what I call the Vicki Dillard tours, where I'm going to be going to different cities, and I'm looking forward to going to more soon. Well, some of the very people that I want you to know that I'm going to be dealing with and have seen and I've been dealing with are individuals like this, our brother Tyrone Muhammad. How many of you all have heard of our dear brother Tyrone Muhammad? He is with an organization with ex-felons, ex-cons, that was in support of some of the policies of Donald Trump over the Democrats, because it's been made very clear that the Democrats don't care, and they've been putting other people groups over us, illegals, folks that violated federal law to get here, and watch this, those that come committing other crimes on camera. While the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, is telling his Black constituencies what he's not going to do for us. Well, baby, our brother Tyrone Muhammad, a very powerful force on the ground in Chicago. See, I work with, I like to deal with folks like him. Watch this. He was on Fox News recently. See, this is the power that the Black grassroots is wielding now. He's on Fox News recently, a few weeks ago, making it clear that because he also does security and he patrols neighborhoods and he takes care of Black folks, how many of y'all know that's what we need? And as a strong Black man that believes in his community and that backs it up through security and making sure that the communities are safe, our brother, who's also an entrepreneur and a business owner with some other things he's got going on there in Chicago. Watch this. How many of y'all been hearing about the controversial new proposed immigration czar that Trump has said that he wants to put in place? How many of y'all know him? We're getting ready to get into his information. Well, our brother Tyrone Muhammad was on Fox News recently and made it clear that he is happy to work with this czar to take them right to where some of the unlawful migrants are hanging out. I'm not giving it no justice, so I want you to get ready to watch this clip.
Families. His threats are also against Black families. We're going to stand up. We're going to protect undocumented individuals. We're going to protect Black folks, brown folks, Asian folks. The city of Chicago will be better, stronger, and safer despite who's in the White House.
This as Chicago is set to hold a special session tomorrow on the mayor's $300 million tax hike that many fear will fund the city's migrants. Illinois Senate candidate, former Chicago gangster and founder of Ex-Cons for Community and Social Change, Tyrone Muhammad, joins us right now. Tyrone, thanks so much for joining the program. So I've been on the ground in Chicago a lot. And when I talk to Black folks, and as well as brown folks on the ground, they don't want the migrants there. They're taking over their resources in the community. You got the gangs right now in Chicago going toe-to-toe with the migrant gangs. What are you hearing?
Lawrence, thanks for having me. Look, if he really cared about Black families, the day the mayor thought about giving resources to non-citizens, illegals, before he gave it to Black communities that have been suffering for decades, then he would be more true to his word about Black families. That's just an scapegoat, using Black people and Black families as an scapegoat or a tool for his dirty practices and immigration. Furthermore, Lawrence, the Americans have spoken. The American people have spoken. Black people have spoken. All across Chicago and all across America has spoken and given President Donald Trump a mandate to remove illegals out of our communities because we didn't ask for them. This is a sanctuary city, and we're asking that even be removed because our community should be given the resources first. So we are with Tom Homan. Whenever he called us here in Chicago, we're going to be on the ground with him to remove these illegals and these migrants and identifying where they are because they have greatly diminished our way of life here in Chicago.
Yeah.
All right, family. Did y'all see that? Did y'all see that? Shout out to brother Tyrone Muhammad that just held it down. Didn't he hold it down? Didn't he just get to the point Didn't he make powerful diplomatic points and just got right there? He said, we didn't ask for these migrants. They coming into our neighborhoods and so forth and so on. He calls out the mayor because it's clear that you're putting resources into folks that violated federal law. Now, family, ask yourself this question. How is it that we're sitting here knowing that folks have violated federal and state laws to get here, right? But your family members and loved ones, some of them, for petty, non-violent crimes are still sitting in jails and in prison, while your Democratic Party, most primarily and a few of your Republicans, are vociferously fighting to keep those that violated the law to get here and figuring out beds and money and visas and other forms of goodies and benefits to give them. Our brother also, the reporter there at Fox News, did you notice what he said? And our brother, Tyrone Muhammad, which I told you he's on the ground, he does security for our people in the neighborhoods. That's a real man right there. Notice, and this is the kind of stuff that the Joy Reid's not going to bring us on to talk about. These are people that's on the ground that knows what's going on, that's been serving the black community. Watch this. The gangs in Chicago that both the Republicans, especially, and Democrats like to exploit. How many of y'all know there was a lot of the Republicans that whenever they were talking about tough on crime stuff, they love to quote Chicago, don't they? Well, how come nobody's quoting the fact that the boots on the ground, the black grassroots is reporting the facts that these illegal gangbangers are fighting the gang members in Chicago? This is crazy. This is crazy. This is mayhem. How many of y'all remember the broadcast I did some months ago? How many of y'all know a lot of the black city council people and the black assembly people, the black lawmakers have sold us out of Chicago? How many of y'all know it's enough black folks alone that's on the local city councils and stuff that can make a major change, but they back dealing and selling us out? But there was one of the black politicians there, shout out to him. I did a broadcast on him. His name escapes me right now. Watch this. I did a broadcast. He's one of the few. How many of y'all remember one of the few black lawmakers in Chicago came out and said that he does believe that we should welcome the migrants. He said we should welcome the migrants to the health department. God, today. Why? Because when they was coming, some of the diseases and medical stuff was traced to some of them. Ain't nobody trying to stigmatize the people, but he made the point there was dangerous stuff that was starting to break out in some of the little sleeping quarters. How many of y'all remember that broadcast? He came out and I looked at him. I just thought, oh, he's just a regular bootleg, sellout, bootlick, and shucker and jiver. He said, no, he said, welcome them to the health department. Y'all know I'm a Mississippi girl. I got to keep it real. And it was so funny. I have to keep emphasizing that. He brought it up in that way, in a way that was funny but true and not as confrontational, because he was trying to sound the alarm about even that sort of a threat. How many of y'all know that some of the black Chicagoans rose up? Some of them actually went to court or engaged in legal mechanisms and legal procedures to call out the unlawfuls that they allowed in their neighborhoods. Because how many of y'all know they flood them in our neighborhoods? How many of you all know that our people on the ground were the ones that were successful in helping them to shut down one of the buildings that they was trying to put them into? So they upset. Then they were successful in helping to shut them down because they was putting them in different parks and stuff. And some of the black Chicagoans, black grassroots, stopped them from using one of their parks. Why? Because the mamas and daddies, the grandmamas, the siblings, the caretakers, the guardians of their babies said that they were concerned because some of them were lawbreakers from the countries that they fled from. And some of them posed a threat they feared to their children. Where were the Republicans and Democrats when they were talking about tough on crime mechanisms in Chicago? Why aren't they highlighting that? So I want you all to keep all these different things in mind when we're listening to our brothers say, take them back. But what's interesting is this. Because y'all bringing them in our neighborhoods, y'all listen. Because you are flooding them in our neighborhoods where we live, we know where they are. So our brother who patrols our neighborhoods, who does security for our people, who is a well-known entrepreneur in our community there, He said he is happy. He is willing to work with the I.C.E, former I.C.E, proposed immigration official. He said to do what? To identify where they are. He is willing to point out where they hiding. And I am so glad that he is. Now, didn't the Black Chicagoans warn the Democrat Party, the DNC and them? When y'all shut down their voices and refused to listen to them? When your mayor there, Brandon Johnson, schemed to change the policy so that Black folks' voice weren't heard as much? Remember, he started making and saying that y'all got to start having government issued ID come. Then he turned around and said, some of you all can't even be on the same floor as them. So they was doing little slick stuff so that other folks would have to go in the overflow rooms. Then he said you had to register early so they could do their investigation and look into you before you got there. I did a broadcast on it right here, where I revealed to you that like a third party government agency watchdog looked at these proposed policies from your Democrat, Brandon Johnson administration and told him, sir, these proposed policies that you're making violate the law, sir. And your Democrat had to pull back on some of those proposals. But I want you all to see that the very Democrats that tell you that the Republicans are racist if they propose that you have to have an ID to vote are the same Democrat party that told you that you got to have a state issue ID to come to a hearing. Brandon Johnson is being destroyed. I want to tell you all that when they mock us and say, y'all ain't politically engaged. Are y'all listening? When they mock our community and say, you all don't get what you want because you don't vote, you don't do this. No, the Black Chicagoans told you we're gonna vote for the other side to punish you. And then some of the Black Chicagoans told you we're gonna vote for the couch. Then some of the Black Chicagoans threatened to disrupt the DNC. Do you all remember before they had the physical DNC? Some of y'all don't remember this. I'm trying to connect the dots about the scheming of the Democrat Party. How many of y'all know it was the Democrats that considered at one time not holding a physical DNC, but doing a digital one after they learned that the Black grassroots in Chicago was threatening to disrupt the DNC? How many of y'all know they intentionally shut out the actual Black grassroots voices so that they didn't have a voice at on the DNC platform in their city? And then they wonder why they lost the presidency, the Senate, and the House of Representatives. When they tell you we're not politically engaged, it's not that, because we know they're a liar. You are so effective in your political engagement, Black family, that they scheme to stop you. It's not that we're not politically engaged, Democrats. It's just that you don't like how we're engaged. If you don't do what they say, when they tell you to jump and you don't say how high, then the Democrat Party will scheme to punish you for not obeying. Like we some kind of dog, like we're some kind of animal that's supposed to be, that they tell to sit and we sit. And then if you sit like some of your Black boule, you'll get a doggy bone. You'll get an addy boy. We'll scratch the belly of the little dog to make the dog happy so the dog know you did something good. We'll give you a doggy treat because you train animals to know when you do something well, when you give them little treats and stuff. Talk Black to me somebody. Real quick, before I go. Everybody be sure to hit that thumbs up button and share. And while I'm at it, family, before I read to you a quote here, because y'all know I like to connect the dots. I want to let you all know that some of the very forces that's controlling the Democrat Party and including your mayor on a state level, on a local level, state level, and then a federal level, some of those same lobbyist groups and voices are at work geopolitically, meaning around the world. Some of the same political action groups that's trying to obstruct and allow, watch this, illegal immigrants coming in. See, some of you all don't understand. You may act like geopolitics and international politics ain't got nothing to do with you, but the fact that you're pushing back against these illegal immigrants means you're engaged in geopolitics. But how many of you all recognize the larger scope is that the powers that shouldn't be a part of their plan was that countries and neighborhoods around the world be flooded? How many of you all know that in certain secret societies, I ain't gonna go there right now. Don't say too much about it. How many of y'all heard about the Bilderbergs? Those are the kind of entities I talk about offline. I'm going to be talking about that and more, and connecting the dots with the fall of Syria and the rise and its connection to the Black ancient Vatican, the true ancient Vatican that the Catholic Church stole from, that wields power throughout the world. Baby, I'm going to be talking about that connection in recent history. And that's connecting to the immigration issue that's got folks, that's got Europe in a mess, and that's flooding the United States. That's not by accident. So Black family, do you know in Chicago, when you're pushing back, some of you don't know that you're actually pushing back against an agenda that was plotted in a smoky cigar room. Do you all understand the reason why they're willing to put billions of dollars is because there's a higher geopolitical scheme at play? Y'all are doing work and y'all are messing and disrupting plans that's made in the high places. If you want to know what I'm talking about and more, we'll put the link to my free Zoom. I said free, where I'm going to be breaking down the fall of Syria and the true Black Vatican powers from ancient times and what they have to do with stuff that's happening today. This Sunday, December 22nd, go to my website at vickiplanet.com. vickiplanet.com on the front of my website. You can register there. But at the end of this, you'll be able to have the link so that you can join for free this Sunday. I had to bring it up because some of you all don't know just how powerful you are, and the fact that you're pushing back and not just being accommodating like they're used to us being. See, they counted on the American Black constituency to just go along, to get along like we always have. And so some of you all are saying to yourself, why is it this serious? Why are they spending billions? Why are they dogging us and playing us right in our face? Because it's a part of a larger geopolitical scheme. Because the people that you're dealing with are people that are coming from other countries that ought to tell you everything you need to know. I'm going to break it down. One of the major factions of that connected to Syria, the fall of Syria and stuff in the Middle East, this Sunday, December 22nd. So click the link below or go to my website at vickiplanet.com. You'll see the free link there to register. In my last couple of minutes here, I want to say this. Y'all know I love to quote the great, our living legend and octogenarian, the great Dr. Claude Anderson. I'm reading from his book entitled Powernomics. Many of you all have heard it. The subtitle is called The National Plan to Empower Black America. In case you're wondering, why does Vicki quote Dr. Claude Anderson so much? Why is it that we who are the Black grassroots honor him so much? Not only is he an academic, and you better ask yourself this question, how come the Boule don't like him? Don't y'all think, when you think about the Black Boule, they love the HBCU. They love the colleges and university and Black groups. They love to think that they're more intelligent than us, but yet they reject the Dr. Claude Andersons of the world. That's because Dr. Claude Anderson uses his academia. He uses his intelligence against the system and for Black Americans. He's for reparations, family. See, your bootlicks are trying to get individual biscuits. They're trying to get individual crumbs. So they don't like the Dr. Claude because he's the one that knows more about how the government works. Why? Because Dr. Claude was appointed to work in the federal government in the Jimmy Carter administration. Did y'all know that? He dealt with commerce. How many of y'all heard of Congressman Strom Thurmond? A Jim Crow blatant racist. Do you all know that Dr. Claude Anderson worked with him back in the day to help appoint Black judges? Then he negotiated even when one of the most staunchest anti-Black racists back in the day. Dr. Claude is credited with giving a large percentage of Black contracts when the DNC had their little event to Black businesses and entrepreneurs. Dr. Claude worked with the former governor out there in Florida, and he's the one that helped to run successful elections, not only on the state level, but like I told you before, he has the inside knowledge about how the federal government works. Keep that in mind in the next 2 minutes while I read this quote. That means he knows what happens behind the scenes, and Dr. Claude uses that information to benefit specifically Black Americans. That's why the powers that be in the Black elite don't like him. Because he ain't just about individual biscuits. He's about the overall success of the black masses. Do you understand? What did Dr. Claude Anderson say on page 193 of his book? This is our brother that has been in government for decades. What did he warn us about a long time ago, y'all? This section is titled Challenge Immigration Laws and Public Policies that have forced black people to become the nation's only non-immigrant and permanent minority. He says blacks must mobilize at the grassroots level. Come on, Dr. Claude. Come on, Chicago. Come on, Brother Tyrone Muhammad. Blacks must mobilize at the grassroots level and challenge this nation's immigration policies, which force them to be the only planned, permanent, and involuntary minority in a social democracy that operates on the premise that the majority will win and rule, and the minority will lose and be ruled. Wealth and power follow the numbers. This country was founded on the principles of liberty, opportunity, and reward for achievement, so long as you were white or could reasonably be accepted as white. In the mid-1700s, blacks made up approximately 34% of the total population. After the ratification of the U.S. Constitution, one of the first acts of the new Congress was to enact the 1790 naturalization law. Y'all better pay attention that this was a plot. The 1790 naturalization law and restricted citizenship to, quote, free white persons. You see how Dr. Claude is breaking down the legal subtleties? Immigration laws have controlled black population numbers. Y'all better listen. Over the last 200 years, ethnic immigrants have bumped blacks from employment, business, education, and political opportunities and used them as a buffer. Hate groups. Layer after layer of ethnic immigrants receive the advantage of the fruits of black people's labor and consumer markets. Black Americans served as a safety net, assuring every ethnic group that they could never fall any lower than the highest black person. But each immigrant group's arrival brought additional harsh conditions for blacks. Y'all know he said so much more. I'm bringing that up because Dr. Claude is someone that not only has a privilege of academia, education from institutions and degrees, he has the experience of being appointed by former President Jimmy Carter and working in the federal administration and getting black judges on the bench, working with some of the most famous and anti-black racists just up from Jim Crow, and working on the state level, and is an entrepreneur and fights for immigration. And Dr. Claude took that knowledge and information that he got on how the system works at the highest levels of government, and he brought it to us. And even his own people shut him out from black colleges and universities. Do y'all know that? Because they don't want him teaching you the truth. How is it that Dr. Claude Anderson could tell us in advance about the agenda that your government and other forces had planned for a long time, related specifically to the immigration issue? And some of you may not have read his book, but you read the signs on the wall and you read the people that's coming in your neighborhood. And I just want to validate and congratulate my people in Chicago and throughout this country that's fighting the good fight, that you all don't know that you are part of a larger geopolitical agenda, a war. And if we stay together, black family, and if we stay on code, we're going to win. I'm going to be breaking down the spiritual and metaphysical aspects of that this Sunday. And I'm going to connect the dots to the war that we're seeing in the fall of Syria and what's going on in the Middle East. And I'm going to connect it to us. You don't want to miss that breakdown, and it's free. This Sunday, December 22nd, 2 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to ask the brothers to put the link below when I'm done, or go straight to my website at VickiPlanet.com. Beloved, I'm so honored that you joined me today. Keep in mind, you will see me again tomorrow, inshallah. Again, Tuesday through Thursday. I'll be live here at 2 p.m. Eastern. Of course, support all the other beautiful, beautiful journalists here. Family, I'm your sister with the curly braids, Vicki Dillard. I'm so glad that you tuned in today. I can't wait to see you again.